Hello boys and girls and boys. Welcome to another Homebrew Wednesday. This week's one will be very short, chaps, unlike me. Because there's no brewing going on really. Well, there is some, but not a lot. And I've not really had time to prepare anything because I've been a bit Tom Dick these past few days. The stinking virus, which the wife has very kindly given to me over the weekend. She had it over the weekend and now I've got it. As is the way when you have a family, one of you gets ill, everyone gets it, don't they? Don't get me started. So, Arsenal, what's going on this week then? Well, on the brewing front, in the beer fridge, sitting at around about 18 degrees, I've got a Cooper's Lager kit with my usual brewing improver, which is 700 grams of sugar, 500 grams of light malt extract and 300 grams of maltodextrin. But, oh God, excuse me folks while I cough all over you. But this time round, I've put in nearly a kilo of honey, and I've brewed it up to 21 litres. So we'll see how that gets on. Not really sure whether it will come out alright or not, but you know, it's something different, and that's what we like to do, don't we, as brewers? We like to tweak things a little bit and do some different things rather than going for the same stuff all the time. Same stuff though is absolutely fine, blokes, don't get me wrong. You can do a decent kit with kit and kilo, really. I would always substitute sugar with light malt extract though, and put some maltodextrin in there as well. So that's on the go. Yesterday we bottled a 10 litre batch of normal bog standard cider, but in this instance I threw in 500 grams of strawberries. I just cut them up. I didn't even blend them, folks. I just cut them up and I chucked them in the fermenting vessel, and that took just over a week to mature and ferment out. That is, yeah, so that's bottled now. See how that comes out. It smelled great, to be fair. I didn't taste it. I didn't want to taste it. I didn't want to, you know, take a sample and jump in there and give it a bit of a taste, really. I just wanted to see how it turned out. So that'll sit at room temperature. Again, I tend to leave my bottles at room temperature for about 2 weeks to make sure that they carbonate. I'm not a massive fan of flat ciders, but you know, just because I'm not a massive fan of flat ciders don't mean you don't have to be a fan of flat ciders. It's your choice, folks. I prefer them with a bit of fizzing. What else are we doing? Ah, yes, we've got a batch, a very small batch, a demijohn batch. Man, like demijohns are like that big. 4.5 litre batch. It's coming out of everywhere, this bloody cold. I don't recommend it, folks. 4.5 litre batch of Suma concentrate apple juice. Now all that is really is the Suma concentrate, as you would expect. Around about 650 to 700 millilitres. I had to think for a second then. I go, hang on a minute, 700 litres, that's a fucking shitload. Millilitres, right? Millilitres. Little bitty litres, you know, the little bitty ones about that big. Shut up. Yeah, so that's gone in the demijohn with topped up to top with water, and I've used a batch of yeast that I've propagated. A little propagator, you know when you put like little seeds in a propagator and you stick it out in the sun? I did that with yeast. No, I didn't. I grew it up on a stir plate. from the Y Yeast Smack Pack. That's done all right so far. I've managed to get, I would say, around about 5 batches so far out of that. And every time it's gone off like a rocket, and there's so much yeast there. I have to be careful when I, you know, when I get it out of the fermenting vessel to leave all the yeast behind. And you could just chuck another batch of apple juice over the top, or you could use that yeast again, but I'm not doing that in this instance. So I'm not overly impressed by the yeast in the Smack Pack. Excuse me, I need to blow my nose. Oh dear, sorry about this, guys. Like I said, this is a quick one off the cuff with me sneezing and coughing and splurting all over you. Now, I don't think, right, that I got this cold off the wife. I think what happened Saturday night, Uncle Jonah, you know who you are, Uncle Jonah, it's your fault, mate, you kept me up all night. No, you didn't. Uncle Jonah did a broadcast on Saturday night, and there were a load of us on vulnlive.tv/Uncle Jonah, by the way. Subscribe and, you know, you'll get a message when he's casting. And a load of other guys do casting as well throughout the week, so check out their channels. But in this instance, I tuned in and we just had a blast. And it was great fun, folks, and we were all sitting in front of our computers listening to Uncle Jonah play tunes and generally be silly, and we were all being silly too. And I was drinking wheat beer. I had about 6 of those during the course of 4 hours, I think. And by the time the cast finished, about 2 AM, I was not in a particularly good state, shall we say. And I don't think anybody else was, because we were just being silly and generally cracking wires and drinking and being stupid. And I blame that. I blame the fact that I got drunk. Because when you get drunk, folks, I've noticed this before. When you get drunk, if you do it, say, I got drunk 3 times last week, which is, don't, you know, it's not big and it's not clever. But as it turned out, on Thursday, I met a friend in London and we went round Covent Garden and we all got a bit silly, and then we went to the Amber Bar and did a bit of disco dancing. That was fun. Made ourselves look silly. You're never too old to have a little bit of a boogie, folks, are you? And yeah, we had a few beers and that got silly. I got a little bit of a hangover. And previous to that, earlier on in the week, I just went to the shed and had a few from my own collection of home brews, and it all got a bit silly again. So 3 times last week, I was a little bit, and I don't think I gave myself enough time to recover. So, you know, I had like a day or two between drinking. And I think that's probably why my defences have not been up to scratch, and you tend to get colds. I've noticed this before. You tend to get colds. If you go out on the piss more than once a week and you don't give yourself enough time to recover before you go on the piss again, you can, you know, your defences go and you can get colds and things. But I'm on the mend now, so, and I haven't had a drink since Saturday night, Sunday morning. So I'm being good now, folks. This week I shall not be drinking. But just because I'm not drinking don't mean that you can't have a drink. You can do whatever you want. It's your life. Enjoy it. Arsenal. All I've got to say, folks, for this week's Homebrew Wednesday, like I said, if you can, tune in to vulnlive.tv and check out the other broadcasters. Scoosy69, he does his own cast, and Harry Brew, he does his too. I think it's Scoosy69, or is it Harry Brew 69? Check their channels out, folks. You know they are anyway. You don't need me to tell you. I can't remember everything. I'm not well, leave me alone. So yeah, Peace out to you folks. Sorry there's no real decent video this week. Like I say, I'm a bit poorly and I just can't be bothered to do a decent one, to be honest. I'm not very prepared and I've got tissues. I mean, look, I've got more tissues here than the tissue collector. It's ridiculous. Never mind. So I'll be better for next week's one, folks. And I don't know what I'm going to be brewing next week. I'm going to be finishing off. Obviously, I've got to do some bottling at some point because I've got to bottle that honey. I nearly said honey cider then. Honey lager. And as you know, I love bottling. Yeah, my favourite thing to do, that is. I just do. In fact, that's the only reason I do brewing, because I love bottling so much. Yeah, we all love bottling, don't we? Good God. So yeah, it's I'm gonna end up bottling twice because I'm just a sucker for punishment. And what I'm doing is we tend to do a yearly barbecue in the Lake residence. And it tends to be the weekend of my birthday, sort of 14th of June, 13th, 14th of June, around that time. So we're doing one this year, even though we can't really afford it because I can't afford to buy the stuff really. So that's why I'm making the homebrew, because I'm certainly not going to be buying any beer for it. It's all going to be homebrew this year, and some of the other guys I know who will be bringing their own homebrew. Mr. Gary. Shout out, peace out to Gaz. He's going to be bringing, God knows what he's got under his belt, but it's bound to be about 8% or more, because he doesn't like to do drinks that are less than 8%. And the problem with the 8%, folks, is you tend to lose about 4 hours. You know, I mean, if you get drunk gradually, you remember getting drunk and you just say, oh, I'm going to go to bed now. And you don't lose any time. But with the 8% ciders or more, you can be perfectly fine, bang, next thing you know, it's the following morning and you're falling asleep at your desk, on the sofa, in your chair, and you can't remember anything. Not fun. So, I don't recommend doing ciders higher than 8% or around about 8%, unless you can take it. I'm a bit of a wuss, folks. I can't. Well, I can take it. It's just I don't like losing 4 hours. You being stuck in this fucking time machine, you know, where you lose 4 hours of your life. I don't like doing that and not remembering anything. I've got to just, you know, it's bad. I can barely remember my name anyway half the time. What is my name? Oh no, I forgot. Anyway, I was going to say goodbye, wasn't I? About 5 minutes ago, and then I got sidetracked. So this is what happens when you do these homebrew videos with no homebrewing in. Look, I've got water. Isn't it marvellous? So that's all for me for this week, folks. Sorry I'm coughing and spluttering all over you and blowing my nose and generally being a bit explosive. I will sort myself out for next week. This is just a light cold thing. It's going now, so I'm sure I'll be fine. Yeah, next week we're going to be brewing something else. Don't know yet. Probably some sort of lager. I might do the Tet Nang recipe pack. I've had that for bloody months and I've not got around to doing that yet. But that needs to be done at lower temperatures, around about 12 degrees. And it also needs to be properly lagered. And it just takes months, man, to do. They're just bloody ages. You know, from start to finish, you're talking about two and a bit months to do a proper lager. And I'm an impatient sod and I'm not sure I can be bothered to do that. So I'm in two minds really as to whether to do that Tet Nang at the lower temperatures or just chuck it on at 20 and leave it, you know. If you guys have done the Tet Nang, I know who's done it. Ben, Brewmaster Ben, you've done it, haven't you, mate? I think if I'm right, you did it at the 20 degrees and you said it came out all right. So I might just do that, you know. I could do it at the low temperatures, but the problem is my my beer fridge only goes down to about 5 degrees, and if I don't control it in some way, it only goes down to about 6 degrees. So I can do the lagering, but I can't get it any lower than 5 degrees, which means It's not proper lagering, you know what I mean? Because the proper lagering has to be done around between 1 and 2 degrees centigrade. My fridge don't go as low as that. Because what you normally do with your lagers is you brew them at the lower temperature around about 12, and then once it's finished fermenting, 2-3 weeks, something like that, you go through this lagering stage where you bring the temperatures down even more. And I can't really do that with my beer fridge. I need to get a proper sort of second hand, you know, those deep fridges, one of those. But you know, when you're out of work, other things are priority, aren't they? So getting a beer fridge, as I'm sure you can imagine, is not high on the list of things for Mrs. Lake or I to do, because I can brew okay without it. I just have to stick to normal temperatures, you know. So thanks for watching, folks. I did say this was going to be a short one, and it isn't, so I apologise. See you next week on Homebrew Wednesday. Peace and love, chill out, and hopefully I won't be coughing all over you and spluttering and sneezing and things by then. But look out for the other brewers on the cast, folks, and do join in. We do have fun. We do enjoy ourselves, and we are silly, and we do like to take the piss. So, you know, kick back with a homebrew. Join us on the casts, and check you next time. Ta-da!